So, I'm here with my aunt, Katie Skalka, and got a couple questions I'm going to ask her. Katie, what do you feel like are the probably three most uh, memorable historical events that have occurred in your lifetime?
Well, that's a really good question. When people ask me if, how old I am or whatever, I say I'm, the number. And they say, oh, then you must remember when the Challenger exploded. And I said, yeah, I was in third grade. I was living in Florida, and my teacher was almost selected. My science teacher was almost selected to be on that. So we were all really interested, and we're out in the yard and watched it kind of blow up in the air like for real without the TV, and then we ran back in the classroom to see what had happened. And so I think about that one a lot. The second one, I think that was when I was probably 8, and when I was 12, on my birthday, which I always thought was really cool, the Berlin Wall fell.
Mm-hmm.
And for Christmas that year, my dad gave me a Christmas ornament that had a piece of the wall in it. So I thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember watching that. And then I think most people, today probably would say 9/11. And I remember where I was for that too. I was living kind of off the grid. I didn't have a TV, I didn't have a radio, and I was in town at the grocery store and didn't know it had happened. And when I came back to my school, we found out I was living actually right across the Chesapeake Bay from DC, and was teaching students at the time who had lost family members that day. So that was a big deal.
Yeah.
So I think those would be the three.
Yeah. Which one do you think has had the most profound impact on you? Maybe like which one had the most profound impact to you at the time, and then how do you think if it has it changed at all now, looking back at it?
Um, I think 9/11 was probably the most impactful, not just because I was older and knew more about what was
Mm-hmm.
going on, but I think because I was living with students, it was like an outdoor school. They were camping with us, and knowing that they couldn't go home, we had to keep them there for several days. And really, I felt like I really was a part of that day instead of just saw it on TV. So that was and that's shaped. I live in New York City now, and a lot of people I meet remember that day because they were there also.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, my perspective is definitely a little different, having been in one of those regions and now
Yeah.
living
Kind of feel
in
like
that area.
that whole event kind of served as a unfortunate unification for Americans at the time.
Very
Kind
much
of
so.
real time when Americans kind of realized that
Yeah.
at the end of the day they were all Americans. It was shocking, but it brought people together.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like the Challenger kind of did that for its day too. Like the space race was a big deal, and having a setback like that really reminded us of like American pride. But certainly, 9/11 being such a traumatic thing for so many people, um, it brought home a lot of. It wasn't like we were in a war, so
Mm-hmm.
it was very different than being
Shocking.
prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very shocking.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that like most things, they rally people together
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
We'll never go back
Yeah.
to a
Exactly.
time when we don't feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, Katie, thank you for sharing your
Hey,
experiences with me,
thanks, bud. It's good to
and
see you.
I appreciate it.
No
Thank
problem.
you.